We gave up 1 field goal, and we had a couple guys cramping. We were playing very good basketball for our standards, and when the place erupted, I felt like our guys, they had a jolt of energy, and it was enough to push us over the top. We made incremental progress for the things we're trying to fix. Obviously, we still have a long way to go, but we're still figuring each other out. And that's part of the fun of having a new group, that we simply stay the course, we find solutions, and we're never pointing fingers at each other. And I think our guys did a nice job of that tonight, despite the turnovers and whatnot. They stayed together and stayed connected, which is most important.
Right on your left with Chris.
With the turnovers, did you see a theme there, or was it just guys trying to play too fast?
Yes, both. We were playing a little bit too fast. There is a theme. And the beautiful thing about playing these games against good teams and good programs, Jamie Dixon's one of the best coaches in our game. He has a new team, and so they'll look a lot different in January, February. But each team presents a new challenge, whether it's zones or no middle defense or whatever the case. And we're a bigger, less playmaking team off the bounce. And when you drive, they collapse. And so you have to have great off-ball movement. You have to have ball fakes. We were over-penetrating. We probably stressed not turning the ball over too much, probably talked about it, and probably told them what not to do too much this week instead of focus on what we wanted to do to beat their defense. But we were so consumed with focusing on ourselves. We had a long prep week and chose to use the majority of it on ourselves, identifying what we needed to go forward, rebounding and defending and whatnot. So we'll definitely spend some more time on the details as far as turnovers, but it's part of the growth process for us.
Stay on your left with Steve.
Let's see, despite the 16 turnovers in the first half, you guys still had a 3-point lead, and Amari was a big part about that. Big part of that. Talk about the shooting he gave you, the rebounding he gave you, and also what overall you like best about him.
His ability to shoot the basketball. He's a smart player. He stretches the defense too. He shoots with great range, so in theory it gives our bigs more space to operate. He's just really sound. I mean, he's a guy that we really believe in and think when he's in the right mindset, then he can have these types of games more consistently. And he was even closer to having a real breakout game. There's a ball that kind of squirted through his legs and whatnot, but he's played consistently well this year. It's nice to see him rewarded making shots because he spends a lot of time working on his game. He's in the gym every single day, shooting extra, working out, and he's a great teammate. And this is what we expect to see going forward.
Right in the middle with Tony.
Yeah, just back to the turnovers. Everybody has different philosophies on them. Obviously, you don't want them, but when they do happen, live ball versus like when you're trying to push in transition, what are the ones that maybe you can live with versus the ones that's like we do need to get these shots?
From day one, we've tried to play it at such a fast pace. And our first couple of years, and the dates that was a head coach, we were really poor turning the basketball over, and we went basically from worst to first with the same players. And it's a lot of the same things where we're encouraging them to play a lot faster than they've ever played. The decisions are quicker. They're seeing bigger bodies. A lot of these guys that came from American Conference, or especially the Ivy League Conference, they're seeing more length. They're seeing more speed. And so we're not going to panic. We're simply going to continue just to tighten up a little bit. But there are some themes. The over-penetration is something that we have to fix immediately because we're putting ourselves in harm's way. And that just comes with more reps and decision-making and getting used to the game. But we do feel confident that we'll look back at the end of the year and we'll have a significant improvement from where we are now.
Coach on your left with Tom.
Sorry, I have one more. Turnovers and rebounding were the two things you talked about. That it looked like there was a concerted effort from the guards and big men in that.
Yeah, there were several against Wake Forest that we just didn't go with enough or want to, and there weren't even tonight when TCU got a few and they got 13, and I think we'll clean that up as well. I don't think it was a lack of effort. Those guys maybe they used their position to get us under the rim where we couldn't jump, whatever it is, but I don't remember looking out and seeing us watching as many rebounds as we have at times. I thought everyone jumped in the fight. Obviously, the tape will confirm or deny, but for the most part, I thought we had everyone getting in the fight and helping out rebound basketball, and especially the last 5 minutes.
On your left with Tom.
Yeah, Dusty, the last 4 or 5 minutes, TCU's easier shots got more difficult, and you went with a bigger line. Was that a theme, another theme that you might utilize more extensive periods of time?
Absolutely. When I was an assistant in Florida, we felt like our late, I think we were top 5 defense, 3 or 4 defense in the country, and we didn't feel like we had a great defensive team, but we felt like when we just had big bodies and length and size on the court, that the shots that they make against smaller guys, they just missed them. Obviously the size is a big component of our game. And so, yeah, we felt, and Sam Walters tries to do everything we ask him to do. Obviously, he's known as a sniper, but he's making progress defensively. He's guarding the ball better. He's rebounded. He came up with several loose basketballs, so very proud of his growth and being self-aware of what he needs to get better at. But I thought that the 3 bigs together with Ruben, I think it was Ruben and Trey, I thought those guys turned it up defensively and came up with big stops.
All the way in the back with Kellen.
As good of a night as Namari had shooting-wise, he wasn't on the floor a lot late in the game. Was that because you wanted Reuben Jones' defense late in those possessions? And I guess talk about how important it is to have as good a defender as Reuben for those final possessions.
Yeah, it was more, he had 4 fouls, and we took him out to kind of together ourselves and gather our thoughts. And him and Roddy, I think, were both cramping. But then when that group got in a good defensive rhythm and they strung together 3 or 4 stops, we just felt like Sam's a good free throw shooter. We have good size. Ruben's a good defender. We just felt like, why disrupt this lineup, because they were getting stops, and we felt like we had enough to score to finish the game. We had enough scores to finish the game.
Right in front, Clay.
Danny, a little bit up and down early, but then at the end he gave you a bunch of playmaking, and then Trey with 14 points in the second half. Those two, can you just talk about the way they finished the game?
Yeah, Trey, I thought Danny's passes to Trey, the skips, I think they figured some things out on the fly with what was happening in the game, but Trey made big shots. He got to the rim. I thought he had a really nice finish through contact. That's another area. We haven't finished well through physicality a lot this offseason. And then Danny, I thought Danny settled in and played with much better pace to his game, and he made big plays. But most importantly, he got 14 rebounds, and most of them were big boy rebounds in the paint. So credit him.
Alejandro?
You mentioned Justin Pippen, in the offseason was maybe the best freshman before he got hurt. What did you like that you saw out of him tonight?
I thought he was very sound. I thought he has a calming presence. I thought they went at him, being a freshman playing his first game. I thought he guarded the basketball well, played with good physicality. He's going to get better and better, and the reason is he's already really good, but just he's going to get the game reps and experience. And he's like having a junior senior point guard on the floor mentally. He's just very, very sound. So it's nice to have him back. He's on a minute restriction. We'll work him back in slowly, but it was great for him to get out and feel the game, especially one against a program with the speed and athleticism as TCU.
On your left with Anthony.
What do you think about Trey and Namari on the court at the same time, how they sort of complement each other? Is that a look you think you'll continue to go with moving forward?
I think they've started every game, but maybe one of the exhibitions together. So yeah, that's a lineup that we've kind of settled in. Those guys have played well together. I do think with our team, it's going to be a game-by-game approach. Reuben Jones isn't going to go over 2 from 3 most games. But yeah, I mean, they're both veteran guys. They've been in a lot of games. Trey Donaldson's won a lot of basketball games on that Auburn program, and Namari's playing like a seasoned vet, and with his efficiency and staying out of foul trouble, he'll play. He'll be up for our team in minutes for that highest minute guys.
Andrew?
Dusty, I know you like to play a lot of guys, but as far as the lineup combos, who's out there together, when in the year do you feel like you get a good handle on the best pairings?
I mean, we all know sample size, right? I mean, it's 3 games and hopefully a 35-plus game season. I don't know. We're right now. We got the first report that this is our best group as far as not turning the ball over. This is our best defensive 5. So it's a 3-game sample size. I would think probably 8 or 10 games, probably conference play when I think we'll be able to know what type of lineup combinations we're working with, and then obviously foul trouble. It is basketball. Guys don't play their best every night, so there's a lot of variables that comes with the art in addition to the science with it, but we're looking at that stuff daily, trying to figure it out.
Got time for a couple more. We'll go John and then Ronnie.
LJ Cason saw a decreased workload in the second half. Was his hand bothering him, or was it just one of those nights not on his best?
Just the other guys were performing well. Freshmen, as we know through college basketball, if they're on the court in these big type of games, and they're pretty good. You look at college basketball, especially as old as college basketball has been. So we don't expect our freshmen to play their best every single night. There are going to be a lot of learning lessons and growing pains, but there's no one that believes in LJ Cason more than our staff does. So, going forward, he'll learn from this, and it's just a matter of some older veteran players playing well tonight.
Ronnie?
Trey Donaldson had all 14 of his points in the second half. Talk about the boost he gave you guys on offense.
On offense, he had a different gear in the second half. He played, I thought he played fearless. In the first half, they kind of had him being a little bit tentative. I thought he ran our team on the offensive end and made, like I said, big shots and made big plays. And when the shot's going in, typically it ignites our defense. And as coaches, we want to act like they're not correlated, but when you're making shots, you tend to play a lot harder. So if we can continue to get shots up, we've proven once again, I don't think we had a great shooting night, and we shot 50% from the field and 38 from three, got the line 23 times. So if we can continue to figure out ways to take care of the basketball, it's going to help, obviously, our offensive efficiency, but more importantly, it's going to help our defensive energy as well. Because we gave up way too many live ball turnovers that led to easy baskets. I think the first 7 points of the game were results of our turnovers.
Coach, you got one more with Megan.
Let's go back to turnovers a little bit. Even though you haven't struggled in the first half, last 10 minutes or one turnover, what do you think you're doing so well?
Probably just self-awareness, and I'll take the blame for all of them early. That maybe we'll clean up some things with the game plan and have maybe a little more condensed offensive attack. But once again, until you've been in these situations where a guy's playing you completely different than you've seen in the last 70 practices, there's an adjustment period. And so that's the beautiful thing about our season. You see all these different defenses, and when we're playing Michigan State or Wisconsin or whoever, then we're going to be able to refer back to the type of defense that TCU played, or the way Wake Forest was on the glass, or things like that. And so as long as we're being conscious about learning and getting all these things into our long-term development, then all of these games will pay dividends later and help us win those games when they really, really matter.
Coach, we
They really
appreciate it.
matter now, but when they really, really matter. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.